This is a good question. Fred Sanford versus George Jefferson. Of the businessmen, who did you relate to? Now, Fred's junkyard, Sanford Arms, was always a trip because Fred was always trying to hustle in the junkyard and his business, and him and Lamont and the truck, and always was trying to hustle a deal and going to different places and what have you. So he always had something going on. He always was running something to make a dollar against his taxes and hanging in Watts and that whole nine, which was hilarious. So it's like, have you can you identify with a junkyard dealer who was always into something and plotting and planning, and and always bringing his friends, and people were all part of it, and it was like his ideas, and he never ever he had his own property in Sanford Arms, but it was a junkyard. It was kind of like, kind of rough on the wrong side, rough side town, but it was his. He had his own situation, so it's kind of like, but you always wondered would he want more, and then the way he operated, it was a lot of methodical to how could you relate to. So basically, it comes down, could you relate to what Fred G. Sanford was putting down at Sanford Arms, you know, and he would always talk about his empire. He was something else. It was always something they were into, but always enough to keep it afloat. He'd have the renters. He always just had, he had good rapport with the local police, and he had the rent, and he spoke his mind. He tried different things. He tried a restaurant. You remember he tried a whole lot of stuff. Fred was trying to get in the entertainment business. Fred was always going against some shady folks and characters. So there was a lot going on with that. But could you relate to him? I mean, that's just hypothetical. Could you relate to him? I mean, that's just what it comes down to. Could you relate to his character? Then we get to George Jefferson, businessman, dry cleaner, 7 dry cleaners all through New York in different places, and including the one in his apartment complex where he was staying. And finally reached the top. So which one? And it's a good question. It's like, George Jefferson, for where he came from, out the projects and built himself up, dry cleaners, it was like really interesting in how he bought different stores. But he was, believe it or not, he was tying himself into some music, tied himself into, a few ways of entrepreneuring, had the suits, had the lifestyle. Interestingly, they both fit the each criteria. They each fit what they were doing. They each kind of like balanced it out where it was, complementary to where they were. So what you saw in one is what you saw in the other, meaning that their style, their drip was very within the lanes of the people they associated with. It was interesting how they were as businessmen, how they were cunning and clever and comical, and you had different episodes and different things. But it makes for some intrigue. It depends on who you could identify. Could you identify with George Jefferson, the dry cleaners who built those multiple stores and operated as he did, or could you identify with Fred G. Sanford, the junkyard, the building, and how they both dealt with the banks and the politics and the structures, black men. It's very compelling because they were independent black businessmen. When you think about it, at the end of the day, once you get all jokes aside, so who could you relate to? This is a good question. Fred G. Sanford or George Jefferson? Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for another, and share it if you like, and hit that membership because when you do, requests like this come true. Thank you again. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out. Peace.